What is up? What is up, awesome people of the internet? Y'all have probably heard the news already. If not, let me be the one to tell you that the Indiana Fever have found their new head coach. And it is not someone who is new to the Indiana Fever. They have hired the most Indiana women's basketball player or person there was to hire in Stephanie White. So that news is official. It is officially official. This is something that definitely I talked about on this channel as being a huge possibility. The fact that Stephanie White would be coming home to Indiana to be the head coach of the Fever. Guys, she's a coach who's been around for a long time. She really is Indiana basketball through and through. We're about to talk about who Stephanie White is as a person. So if y'all don't know who she is, I'm going to walk through who she is. I'm also going to talk about the press release that was put out. Start to talk about what some of the players have said so far, because there has been some great movement by some Indiana Fever players. You know, Nalyssa Smith, that seems to be very gung-ho about this. We're going to talk about what the possibilities are for the Fever, because this is a new day, guys. New day in Indiana Fever world. So yeah. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it real quick. So first of all, if you're wondering who in the world is Stephanie White, well, Stephanie White, as I said, she really is Miss Indiana basketball. She's a player she's a person who was born in Illinois, moved to Indiana, at a younger age. She kind of grew up in Indiana. She ended up attending Purdue University. At Purdue, she had a very, very successful stint at Purdue, right? She was there from 1995 to 1999. They ended up winning a national championship. The Purdue Boilermakers won the 1999 NCAA national championship, guys. And largely it was because you had a player like a Stephanie White who was making some noise and doing stuff and really helping her team out, right? And she is a person who was fire. Also, fun fact. Did you know, guys, that the 1999 women's basketball team for Purdue University, who was the coach? Miss Carolyn Peck, y'all. Okay, I'm just saying. You had Carolyn Peck as the head coach of Purdue, and you had Stephanie White doing her thing. So I'm just saying. Okay, that year, she was also Stephanie White was also the Big Ten player of the Big Ten Conference Player of the Year. She also got the Wade Trophy. In 4 years with Purdue. Yeah, Stephanie White was fantastic. She ended up scoring 2,100 points, was inducted into the Purdue Hall of Fame as well. And she just all around was a phenomenal player. And then, you go from college, now it's time to go into the big leagues, right? Now it's time to go to the WNBA. She went to the WNBA. And she played a couple of seasons in the W, total of 5 seasons. She was a pretty decent player, I would say. Definitely not as impactful as she was in college in the WNBA, but she did some stuff. She ended up playing for. Hold on, let me pull up this real quick. Also, guys, sorry for my lateness. I haven't really done much this week. It's been a busy week. But anyway, Stephanie White, she ended up playing for 2 teams in the W. She played for 2 teams. Primarily, she played for the Indiana Fever. But when she was first drafted into the WNBA, she actually played for the Charlotte Sting. All right, so she played for Charlotte Sting in 1999, and then moved over to the Indiana Fever after that. So Charlotte, 1999, 2000, went to Indiana, and she finished off her career in Indiana. In terms of her being like a impactful, in terms of her being an impactful WNBA player, I mean, she was fine, but like, she wasn't. Yeah, she was definitely a way better college player than she was WNBA. After her 5 seasons of the WNBA was over, she decides to kind of do a nod to coaching and started to get into that. And coaching really just stuck for her, and she just kept continuing to coach. She ended up coaching in several avenues. She coached in she initially coached in Indiana, not for the Indiana Fever, but for Ball State. She was a coach for Ball State for initially, and then she ended up making her way to the WNBA. So she coached at Ball State. She went to a couple other places in college to coach there. Went to the WNBA as a assistant coach for the Chicago Sky. She was the assistant coach for Chicago Sky for quite a bit. And then eventually ended up making her way to the Indiana Fever. Now, I do have a graphic that I have shown in the past. I want to just pull that up real quick. So yeah, this is her WNBA coaching record. Again, she started off as a head coach for Ball State in Indiana. Went over to Chicago to be an assistant coach there. Stayed in Chicago for a couple of years. Went back to Indiana, the Indiana Fever this time, and became a assistant coach there. Ended up becoming a associate head coach in 2014. Then, note this name that I'm about to say, Kelly Kroskoff, who just returned back to the Indiana Fever. She was I believe the GM at the time. And in 2015, she decided to promote Stephanie White from the associate head coach to the actual head coach. So Stephanie White was the head coach for the Indiana Fever for 2015 and 2016. She decides to leave Indiana, the Indiana Fever, move over to Vanderbilt to become a head coach for Vanderbilt's women's basketball team. It didn't go as great as she would have wanted. She ended up becoming a commentator for women's basketball. And if you all remember, that's something that she still does to this day, right? She ended up also getting a head coaching job with the Connecticut Sun. She started there in 2023, and we just saw her finish up this season in 2024 with the Connecticut Sun. If you all remember, we saw Stephanie White. If you all watched the Big Ten, if y'all watched the Big Ten Network, y'all saw Stephanie White on TV a lot this past NCAA season. You saw her a lot. She was calling a lot of Big Ten games, called a lot of Iowa games, and was doing a lot of commentary on that front. And she's seen a lot. She's seen a whole lot. She's a basketball mind who has played, been there as a player. She's also been there as a commentator, and is a really good coach as well. She's a coach that really does focus on defense a lot, and I think that's something that's going to be hugely impactful for her, for this Indiana Fever team, because they really do need defense. They got offense. They got offense kind of in the bag, but defense, whole nother story. But I do want to specifically, before we go into the press release that was put out, I do want to show you all a clip of what Stephanie White said about the Indiana Fever. So this is what she said in a presser, I believe like a month or so ago. All right, so she was talking about the Indiana Fever because the Connecticut Sun was playing the Indiana Fever, and she was asked about like the growth of the Indiana Fever. And I want y'all to keep in mind what she's saying, knowing that now she's the head coach of the team?
If I could follow up, just really quickly, you mentioned that this Indiana team looks really different than it did on Juneteenth when you saw them last,
Mhm.
which is absolutely accurate. But what do you think are some of the things that you now have to focus on that you maybe didn't have to focus on back in June?
Well, I think anytime you're a young team that's really growing into yourself, the understanding of one another, the timing, the pace, the connectedness, just wasn't quite there early. It's there now. Everybody on the floor understands how, when, and where Caitlin Clark can get them the ball, and so they get there. Kelsey Mitchell's obviously playing at another level now, and so it gives you another player on the floor that you have to be mindful of on and off ball, in isolation and in two-man. They make quicker reads and play with a lot more rhythm, better timing, and multiple weapons on the floor. I mean, and it's a team that's playing with a lot of confidence. They don't fear anyone. They just go out and they play and enjoy the game, and they make that that's a tough matchup. For us, again, it's a team that we have to continue to force into tough twos, and we've got to be able to finish plays with rebounds.
So that is what Stephanie White said like a month or so ago about the Indiana Fever and sort of their growth over the year. And she hit the nail on the head. She was like, hey, this team has figured out a way to be in positions where Caitlin can give them the ball. And knowing that she has had a front seat sort of view at Caitlin all through definitely her senior year of college, we kind of already have an idea of what this Indiana Fever team is going to be doing. Okay, it's going to be pretty interesting in terms of their schemes, because for sure they're focused on one thing: give your biggest one of your biggest weapons, give her the basketball and have her work. So I'm just saying. All right, let's go over to the press release. So this is the press release that was put out earlier today, and I want to just talk about it real quick. The Indiana Fever hire Stephanie White as their head coach. A thing to note is that Stephanie White will be hosting a intro press conference, and so that's something to note. Also, guys, if y'all could do me a huge favor and hit that like button, that would be really, really awesome. I see some talks in the comments about Satu Sabally possibly going to the Indiana Fever. We're gonna talk about it, okay? We're gonna talk about it shortly. Okay, there's a lot of players who I'm sure would be very, very interested in going to the Fever. All right, let's go through this press conference. This press release. And a thing to note, there is going to be a press conference on Monday. I will not be able to cover that live, but I will cover that on Monday after it's over. So stay tuned for that. Okay. So the Indiana Fever announced on Friday the team has named Stephanie White as their head coach, a West Lebanon, Indiana native and Purdue alumna. Is that how you say that? Alumna? Returns to the franchise where she spent 6 seasons as head coach and assistant coach on the sidelines. A thing to note, again, she was born in Indiana, born in Illinois, basically grew up in Indiana. And so Indiana really is her home. It says, as we enter, this is what Kelly Krostoff said, who initially hired Stephanie White to be the head coach back in the day, is bringing her back on. Says, as we enter this new era of Fever basketball, I am thrilled to welcome Stephanie back to the franchise. Stephanie is a part of the fabric of this franchise, both as a former player and as a member of our championship coaching staff. I'm quite familiar with her elite basketball IQ and leadership style. I'm confident there is no one who better understands our culture or is more equipped to lead our group of players to the next level. And Stephanie White had this to say. She said, I am incredibly proud and honored to return home to Indiana and lead the Fever during a pivotal moment in the franchise history, as well as during such an important time throughout women's athletics. This franchise has this franchise has and always will be committed to winning, and I look forward to working every day to help deliver another WNBA title to the greatest basketball fans in the world. If y'all didn't know, basketball originated in Indiana, and so that's why a lot of people consider Indiana basketball fans like the greatest in the world, is because it originated there. All right. Anyway, and then it gives some details about Stephanie White. We already kind of talked about this. So yeah. We can go to this one. All right. It says Stephanie White will enter 2025 with a combined 17 seasons of experience as a player and coach in the WNBA. Prior to Connecticut, she spent 2 seasons as the head coach for the Indiana Fever, compiling a 37-31 record and a 6-6 playoff record, including a trip to the 2015 WNBA Finals and a 2016 postseason berth. Prior to becoming the head coach for the Fever, and then says she spent time as an assistant coach and helped the team reach their first WNBA championship in 2012. All right, so that's something to note. Oh, here's the other schools. Yeah, here's the other schools. So she started off at Ball State, went to K-State and Toledo. That is her college, and that was initially, and then she went to Vanderbilt. So she's coached at 4 different colleges: Ball State, Kansas State, Toledo, and Vanderbilt. And she's coached at 3 different WNBA teams: the Chicago Sky as an assistant, the Connecticut Sun as a head coach, and the Indiana Fever as both an assistant and head coach. All right, so that's the new head coach for the Indiana Fever, the coach who has returned. A thing to note is that Stephanie White is the Indiana Fever's 10th head coach. This is the 10th time that the Indiana Fever has had a new head coach. She is really the 9th head coach in terms of like actual individuals, because she initially was the head coach back in 2015, 2016, left, and now she's back. So 10 times that we've had a new head coach for the Indiana Fever, 9th head coach, like in terms of people. All right, because she was there, she left, she came back. All right, so let's talk about what this means, guys. I want to talk about what this means because I think it means a lot. I think it means a whole lot. Number one, I don't know. Say if y'all called it, say it in the chat. If y'all called this, say it's in the chat, guys, because this is something I kind of saw coming. We kind of knew that this was coming. The idea that Stephanie White was going to leave the Connecticut Sun and go over to the Indiana Fever, it kind of made a lot of sense. Again, guys, remember, the Connecticut Sun is in rebuild mode now. They are in full-blown rebuild mode. And for Stephanie White, sure, she was on contract for another year, but I think a lot of her analysis was like, hey, I want to go back home. You know, I miss being home. You know, Connecticut's cool. Like, I love the people, but like, it's not home. I want to be home. Indiana has done well for me, right? Indiana has done well for me in terms of me as a player, me as an assistant coach, Kelly Kroskoff, the person who really believed in me. She's back with the Fever, right? She was with the Fever, went over to the Pacers. Now she's back with the Fever. So I'm very, very familiar with the people who are involved with the Indiana Fever. And so it's sort of like, hey, why not go back to a place that I'm familiar with, a place that likes me, a place that I like, a place that's closer to home? Why not do that instead of staying in Connecticut for more years? Yes, it wasn't like there is no reporting at all that says that Stephanie White did not have a good relationship with the Connecticut the Connecticut Sun management staff. Like it seemed like there wasn't a problem on that front. It was just that Stephanie wanted to return home. She wanted to return home. The Indiana Fever was looking for a new coach that can really sort of take this Indiana Fever team to the next level, right? You already have the offensive juggernauts of Caitlin and Kelsey, right? Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. They're a fantastic dynamic duo. Fantastic. You got Aaliyah Boston in the post who's making some noise. You got Timmy Fag-Benlay who is kind of like a player that you can kind of do a lot with. You got Nalyssa Smith, who seems to be back in the fold. So that's something. That's something to note. But I did just want to show the post that was put out there by the Indiana Fever. If y'all look here, looky here. Caitlin Clark says, "Feeve show, y'all. You know for sure. Kelly Kroskoff, the powers that be with the Indiana Fever, guarantee you, they talked to Caitlin. I'm pretty sure they talked to Kelsey Mitchell about this. They were like, hey, what do y'all think? What do y'all think about her? And I'm sure they were like, hey, yes. Stephanie White, yes. That's who we want. And guys, this is huge because Stephanie White I keep calling her a player. I mean, she was a player. Now she's a coach. I think that Stephanie White is one of those coaches that I think is really going to help unlock some stuff. Yes, Caitlin's fantastic. She's a great player, right? She could pass the ball, she could score, all that good stuff. But she needs to improve on her defense. That's something that people don't talk about. But she needs to improve on her defense. Stephanie White is, I think, the coach that could do that. Okay. She's the coach that can help to unlock some stuff on a defensive end. Yeah, at times Caitlin could be a good defender, but in terms of the consistency of it all, I think she can unlock some things and make that a little bit better. Also, I think that just overall, just the various schemes that they run, the different rotations that we see, the possible new players that will be brought in. Guys, I'm excited about it. And it may be possible that we may see some Connecticut Sun players on the Indiana Fever next year. I'm just saying. Okay? But I wanted to pull up. Here we go, Nalyssa. There we go. I want to pull up Nalyssa Smith because, guys, Nalyssa Smith has added back the Indiana Fever tag has been added back to Nalyssa Smith's profile. If y'all didn't know, Nalyssa, she actually removed the @Indiana Fever tag from her social media. She did that, I believe, after their last game. She took Indiana off. She ended up posting this sort of peace message that was basically saying farewell. It was a long message, but she was saying basically farewell to the Indiana Fever. But times have changed. And with time, sometimes the heart changes a little bit when times change. And Nalyssa Smith has added back the Indiana Fever to her profile. She added that back, I believe, after Chrissy Sides got fired. I believe that's when she added it back. So it seems like there people have been doing all this speculation and saying that Nalyssa did not like Caitlin or whatever. It seemed like Nalyssa didn't like the coaching. That's what it seemed like to me. Because for her to add back Indiana to her profile after Chrissy Sides gets fired, and she posted this on she ended up posting this as a story, tagging this and basically like, hey, We about to win some championships, that type of vibe. I'm like, okay, is Nalyssa Smith back in play? Is Nalyssa Smith actually back in play to play for the Indiana Fever? Like, basically, in my mind, I'd have basically had her in the trading talks right now. Like that's what I had her as. I was like, she's not returning back to this team. She's clearly shown that she does not want to return back to this team. But, maybe she's back. Maybe she's back and on board. It seems that way with the decision for the Fever to hire Stephanie White. Y'all, win some. You are absolutely right. She is singing a new song. Yes. Nalyssa Smith is singing a new song. It's a different vibe. Now that they have a new coach. So I'm not saying that it's a lock that Nalyssa Smith is going to be on the 2025 WNBA Indiana Fever team. Like I'm not saying that she's for sure going to be on the roster come 2025. But what I'm saying is it seems plausible now more than ever that she may be back. It seems plausible. I'm just saying that it's kind of interesting because Nalyssa Smith is actually a really good talent. I don't know. It didn't seem like she was put in good positions to succeed because she's a player who really is a walking double-double in the WNBA. She really is a walking double-double. This year, terrible numbers. She was good. She was really good her rookie year. Did really well last year. Her third year, no, not at all. And so we're about to see. We're about to see what happens. Does she end up with the Indiana Fever next year? Does she move to another team? Who knows? I'm just excited to witness it all and see what happens. I just want to see what happens, guys. I just want to see what happens. So yeah, that's the main story, guys. There's some speculation about like, okay, well, what's going to happen for everybody else, right? So we'll see. We will see what happens in terms of free agencies. I mean, a lot of players are going to be looking at the Indiana Fever as a possibility. Satu Sabally. Maybe not. If the Indiana Fever do move on from Nalyssa Smith, Satu Sabaly's in play for sure. You know, she's a player who has dealt with some injuries, and so that's a thing that you're gonna have to worry about, right? To possibly have like a Timmy and Satu on the team that both have recently had some injuries. Maybe it's a need for a pause of sorts, but Satu Sabally is fantastic. Like a healthy Satu Sabally, what they could do together. I'm just saying. Aaliyah Boston, Satu Sabally. You know, you got Kelsey Mitchell, you got Caitlin Clark. You know, all you need is that three slot, which this year has been sort of to end the season. It has been Lexi Hull, but like who knows who that 3 spot might be. Of course, Lexi's gonna stay with the team next year, but like who knows if she's gonna be like a 6-man. I think it probably would be best for her to be a 6-man, but we'll see. It depends on who they're able to pick up. It really, really depends. So yeah. I'm interested to see what this Indiana Fever team looks like in the future, guys. I am a fan of Stephanie White. I have been for a long time. I've been a fan of her since she was the assistant coach with the Chicago Sky, because y'all know that's my team, right? So so the assistant coach for the Chicago Sky, like anybody with the Chicago Sky, I kind of always automatically become your fan. So ever since then, I've been looking at her, and again, she did not have that great of a tenure with Vanderbilt, but you know, recruiting comes a factor, and like it could be hard to really make some noise in terms of developing a not so good team in college, right? So I don't put that much stock into it. I do think that she did a really good job with the Connecticut Sun. And I'm interested to see ultimately what she does with the Indiana Fever. WK says, I'm ready to see Grace Berger with the Valkyries next year. I don't know. The thing is, Grace Berger has so much potential that I just don't, I still haven't really understood why the Indiana Fever has basically not used her, right? Last year, as a rookie, Grace Berger barely played. This year, as a second-year player, Grace Berger barely played. But when Grace Berger goes overseas, she's balling. And so I have an issue with them. Well, with Christy Sides not using Grace Berger. I'm a fan of Grace Berger. Maybe it's because I was just such a huge fan of hers when she was in college that I'm like, oh, she needs to play as a WNBA player. But I actually really do think that she has stuff to offer. You all saw, it was preseason, but we all saw when Grace and Caitlin were playing together in the preseason. And I saw some sparks of really good basketball. Okay? Really, really good basketball. I think they could have played well together in the regular season. But unfortunately, she didn't play. But Grace Berger needs to go somewhere where she's playing. Okay? It would be great if she stays with the Indiana Fever. Because again, she went to Indiana for college. It would be great if she stayed at with the Fever and played. But my thing is, if we need to see a decision be made. If Grace Berger is not going to play, trade her. Send her somewhere else. Send her somewhere else. Because I think she showed too much promise in college to be a player who just rats the bench and just watches. I'm just saying. I am just saying. Jeannie says, I think White will put her on the floor for Grace. I hope so. But guys, I'm gonna tell you this. I am going to tell you this. We will see a pretty different Indiana Fever team. All right, all the loyalties and whatnot that existed before is out the window with Stephanie White in the building. Stephanie White has been hired to do one thing. That is win a championship. That's what she's hired to do. And this whole roster politics thing about, certain players have to make the roster, certain players have to play and all this other stuff, it's out the window. So some of these players that y'all have gotten connected to and whatnot, they may not be on this team next year. Okay? We're about to see a sea change with the Indiana Fever. Okay? We're about to see a sea change. And I think that's necessary. I think it's necessary, for a new blood to come in and just wipe the slate, wipe it. If you're not gonna be a huge factor in us making the playoffs and making the finals or whatnot, then you gotta go. You gotta go. All right, so that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I think there's going to be a lot of changes with this team. Erica Wheeler's an unrestricted free agent. Is she on this team next year? I don't know. It's not a guarantee. Whereas if Christy Sides was still the coach, I think it would be a guarantee that Erica Wheeler would be on this team next year. I don't think it's a guarantee now. I don't think it's a guarantee. Right? Katie Lou Samuelson, she's under contract for next year, but just because she's under contract does not mean she's going to be on this team next year. Okay? Remember, guys, we do have the expansion draft coming up, and it was smart for Indiana to they got all their ducks in a row, right? They got the new GM, They got the new head coach before December, so they can make decisions about who they want to protect. You know, even though Katie Lou's under contract, we may not see her next year with the Indiana Fever. She may be on the Valkyries, right? We don't know, right? I think there's some core people that for sure are not going anywhere, right? Caitlin Clark, of course, ain't going nowhere, right? Kelsey Mitchell is not going nowhere. She is an unrestricted free agent, but Kelsey Mitchell is going to get cored. She's going to sign the core contract. Initially, I did not think that Kelsey Mitchell was going to return to this team next year because she did say that she wanted to explore free agency. But from the off-season sort of places I've seen Kelsey Mitchell at, I think it's a done deal. You know, when I saw Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark sitting sideline at a Pacers game, I was like, and laughing and all that stuff, I was like, oh, it's a done deal. Kelsey Mitchell's coming back. They're coring her, and she's gonna sign the core contract, and they're gonna be all good to go. So them two ain't going nowhere. Aaliyah Boston definitely ain't going nowhere because again, Aaliyah Boston's on a rookie contract. A lot of production for only like $83,000 next year, right? A lot of production. So you ain't sending her nowhere. You know, I would say Lexi Hull is another player who is not going anywhere. Again, she's also on a rookie contract, and so you know you're saving a lot of money there. So there's a lot of money being saved. The only player that you're really paying money to next year is Kelsey Mitchell. All right, this is assuming that possibly Katie Lou Samuelson is off the board and she's with the Valkyries or wherever she's at, right? The only player you're really gonna pay next year is Kelsey Mitchell right now. And your other sort of core players are on rookie deals, so that means you got a lot of money in play that you can pay top talent to come to Indiana. This is what you want as a WNBA team. You want most of your best players to be on rookie contracts. That's what you want. Because when that happens, you're able to pay veterans big, like the money that they're worth, so that way you can possibly win, you know, make it far. So I'm just saying that those are the people who are not going anywhere. Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull. Definitely they're not going nowhere. Nalyssa Smith is a question mark. It seems like she's back. She's back on. She's back with the team. She's excited about it. We'll see. I do think that that Stephanie White can make a system that actually uses the best of Nalyssa Smith. I really do think that Stephanie White can do that. I really do. It's just a question mark of like, okay, well, do they want her to stay or not? That's a huge question. I mean, she's on a rookie deal, so it would behoove them to just make it work, because that's a lot of talent on a rookie deal. Okay? A lot of talent. And now it's about, okay, well, who else? Are you keeping Victoria Saxton? Probably not. Probably not. Are you keeping a Grace Berger? You got to decide. Is she your backup to Caitlin or is she not? If she's not, even though she's on a rookie deal, send her packing. Send her somewhere else. Erica Wheeler, she's an unrestricted free agent. It's a question mark of, do you sign her? Because if you sign her, she needs to take a huge pay cut, because she's getting paid a lot of money. A lot of money. And, you know, if you look at the production, it's not equaling close to what other people who are making that amount of money is producing, right? And so, Alonzo, yeah, it's a roster check. You got going down the list. None of y'all guaranteed. None of y'all are guaranteed a spot. None of y'all. Okay, so that's the thing, you know. If Erica comes back, she definitely coming back at a way lower salary, and that's no shade at all. That's just the reality of the situation. That's just the reality. So yeah, this roster is going to look completely very, very different. The starting five is going to be pretty similar, but everything else different. All right. So I'm just saying, y'all better get ready. Y'all better get ready. Kelsey is asking, do you think they could get Nneka Ogwumike? Nneka is currently with the Seattle Storm. And a thing to note about Nneka is that she is an unrestricted free agent. She is an unrestricted free agent for next season. Here's the thing. I don't know about getting Nneka. Is Nneka a fantastic player? Yes, she is. But to pay Nneka the money that she deserves and is worth, while also having Aaliyah Boston, I don't think it makes sense. Because Aaliyah Boston is your center. Nneka Ogwumike is a 4 and a 5. She could do both. She could do both, right? And I'm not sure. That'd be interesting though. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works in the post. I'm not sure how that works in the post with Nneka and Aaliyah. I don't know how that works. So I would be hesitant about that. Just because I'm a little confused as to how that would work down low. Yeah. Diane says, I say Howard over Nneka. Natasha Howard. I would agree with that. Yeah. Because I think I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that could work. I think Natasha Howard could actually work. For guys who don't know, Natasha Howard was with the Dallas Wings. She basically said after the season was over, she's not returning back to Dallas. And so she's about to be somewhere else next year. Diane says, what about Tina Charles? I don't know if that works. I don't know if Tina Charles and Aaliyah Boston works. You know, I don't know if it works. Yeah. Unless Tina Charles is cool with coming off the bench, which I don't know. If Tina Charles is cool with coming off the bench, yes. Grab her up in a second. Yes. But I don't know if she's cool with that. I think Natasha Howard fits like that. The other two that was mentioned, I don't know. Disfan9212, thank you so much for the super chat, says, I would like to see Ryan Howard be traded to the Fever. Get some Kentucky women's basketball connection with Lynn Dunn, who was on staff at University of Kentucky. Well, you know what? I think that would make no sense at all for Atlanta to do. I mean, in a very, like, if the Indiana Fever was the only team that mattered since, sure, yes, that would be a fantastic idea to get a player like a Ryan Howard. However, why in the world would the Atlanta Dream trade away Ryan Howard? There is nothing the Indiana Fever could give the Atlanta Dream minus giving them the long-term rights to Kelsey Mitchell, right? Beyond that, why would the Dream trade away Ryan Howard? Why would they? No, that would make no sense. Sure, that would be great for the Indiana Fever if they got Ryan Howard, but like, why would Atlanta trade her away? Why would they? I don't know. I don't think that. From a like logic standpoint, I think it would be crazy for Atlanta to do that. I think it would be crazy. I mean, but who knows? Who knows? Ryan. A thing to note is Ryan Howard is still on her rookie deal. In 2025, that will be her last year on her rookie deal. Okay, that will be her last year. But yeah, it makes no sense for Atlanta to get rid of Ryan Howard. Sure, maybe if you're getting a extremely high draft pick, multiple draft picks, sure. But Ryan Howard ain't going nowhere. I don't think. I don't think it's I don't think so. KB channel member says NECA doesn't need to live in the paint for the talent level and defense. You figure out how to make NECA and Aaliyah work. Yeah, NECA doesn't live in the paint. However, NECA doesn't live in the paint. However, I think that like a player like a Nalyssa Smith is more of a outside threat than NECA. So I could see like there's a way for like we saw Nalyssa and Aaliyah work really well last year, not 2024. Well, at times, but really 2023 we saw them work really well. And I think that NECA doesn't have to live in the paint, but the paint is where she thrives a lot. Yeah, sure. NECA can shoot threes. She could do her mid-range jumper. She can do all that stuff. But I don't know. I just don't see as much of her sort of working very, very well with Aaliyah Boston. Like I think it may end up being a situation like if you all watched the Atlanta Dream this year, you all saw, Cheyenne Parker-Tyus and Tina Charles, right? These were two individually really, really good players. Two players who definitely are starters in the league. But it didn't work. Them two playing together did not work. And it just didn't seem like anything that Atlanta could do to really make that thing work. And then ultimately, Cheyenne Parker-Tyus ends up getting hurt. But, just because two players are like really, really good individually does not necessarily mean they're going to work. And in my head, I don't think Aaliyah Boston and NECA would work in the same way as Tina Charles and Cheyenne Parker-Tyus did not work at all. It just didn't. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I absolutely could be wrong. At the end of the day, we don't know because none of us are mind readers. None of us. I wish I was though. That'd be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. I'm just saying. All right. On the Fritz farm says, how many unrestricted free agents can the Fever afford to sign? It depends. Because we don't know who they're going to keep. That's the thing. Now, if y'all are interested, what I could do is like I could mock up a salary cap sheet of the players I think could get cut and the players who could stay, who are likely to stay, and then like who they could possibly get with the difference in that money. But right now we don't know. Like if Erica Wheeler does not get re-signed, if they find a way to get rid of Katie Lou Samuelson's contract, then they got a boatload of money to play with, a boatload of money, and they can do some stuff. Now, if they do re-sign Erica Wheeler, to a right now she was on a $200,000 contract, right? If they sign her to something similar, and Katie Lou Samuelson is still on the team next year for 180, they don't have, I mean, they have money, but they don't have that much money. They don't have that much money to be paying free agents. So it just depends on who they have. Like it just depends. Like they could either have a lot of money to work with, or they cannot really have much of anything to work with. It just depends on who they re-sign, I should say. Who they re-sign, and also whose contracts they keep. So we don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I could probably try to do that. Amy G, I have a video. I'll have a video talking about Last Tier POA's lawsuit tomorrow. But yeah, that is a thing. I'll be talking about it tomorrow. And guys, I do want to just say sorry. I've been like very MIA this week. Very, very MIA. This, as y'all know, I have an actual job, and like occasionally I have weeks where I just can't really put anything out. Like this week, I didn't really put anything out this week. So I was like, this week was a nightmare week at work. I was so busy. B-Mom, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I won't get into specifically what's going on with Last Year POA. I will put out a video about it tomorrow. But yeah, this week has been a crazy, crazy week, to the point where I was just like so overwhelmed that I just couldn't even make any videos. And then I was like, okay, let's just try to get to Friday. Let's just try to get to Friday, and let's see what happens. And I was able to get all this stuff done, all the stuff I had to get done. It's been a crazy week, but it's over. It's over, and I'm so happy about it. So occasionally, guys, I know a lot of y'all like count on me to do like daily stuff, and I try my best to. I had a lot of ideas and like half videos done, but like I just couldn't finish it. Like it was too much going on. Too much going on. But I appreciate y'all still hanging out with me. I'm going to get back to the daily uploads, possibly twice a day uploads. Cause I think we are back in, we back in it. We back in it. I think I've hit the other side of my busyness. I think I should be good. I think I should be good in terms of like after work not being so exhausted where I just can't do anything. All right, guys. But yeah, that's the video. Stephanie White is back in Indiana as the head coach of the Indiana Fever. She returned to the Fever. This is a team that she was very familiar with, right? As a player, as an assistant coach, as an associate head coach, as an actual head coach, and now back as the head coach again. That's the news. What do y'all think about it? Let me know in the chat. Appreciate y'all so much for rocking with me. Thank you. Looks like y'all, for the most part, y'all do understand my delays. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. YouTube uploader says, "Don't worry about us. Your job is the main thing." Yeah, it is. Oh man, who knows? Maybe eventually this will be my main thing. I don't know, but right now, definitely not. Jay says, "Who do you think Chicago gets now?" I think it's a good chance that we may have Chrissy Sides as our new head coach. I think it's a really good chance that Chrissy Sides will be the head coach of the Chicago Sky. I'll be making a video about that to sort of like explain exactly why I believe that. But yeah, I think she's coming to Chicago. Yeah. All right. Appreciate y'all so much. What do y'all think about the Indiana Fever? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, guys. Happy Friday. Woo! We made it. We made it to Friday. And I'm so happy about it. I am so happy about it. Y'all don't know how excited I am about Friday. All right, next week we got a huge week. Women's college basketball starts on Monday, guys. It starts on Monday, so get excited about it. Guys, I was supposed to be putting out videos every day about like previews of the various teams. I did one about the South Carolina Gamecocks. I was supposed to do one about all these other teams. I'm a try to work tonight and try to get some done, and to be able to release, maybe do a couple tomorrow, next day, because women's college basketball is about to start, and I want to make sure y'all are prepared and ready for it. Okay, so a lot of videos to come, because now I actually have time for the weekend. Also, I told Mama and Daddy about Stephanie White being hired by the Indiana Fever. They're not surprised at all. So yeah, that's Mama and Daddy thoughts right there. They are not surprised. Okay. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for the folks on Patreon who are contributing to this channel every single month. Thank you so much to the channel members. Thank you. I see KB in the chat right now. I see we had quite a few earlier channel members in the chat. I really do appreciate all y'all for rocking with me. I really do appreciate it. It truly means a lot, your support. We got CAC in the chat, the mod extraordinaire. Appreciate y'all. We see Frank in the chat as well. But again, appreciate y'all. Y'all have a fantastic evening. Yeah, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Do something nice. Eat some pizza. Eat some cake. Eat some chicken. Do something. Do something good for yourself. Do something good for yourself. Do something good for somebody else. Guys, Mr. President is trying to get up here. Y'all see him in the corner right here? Y'all see him? He need a haircut real bad. He really do. He needed a haircut really bad. Anyway, I gotta go so I can walk home. All right, happy Friday. I love y'all. Most importantly, guys, Jesus loves you. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Lots of videos to come. From Mr. President and myself. Bye-bye.